Hello world, Shelly here, and it's time for another episode of Foundation Fest, and today I'm checking out one that I've been asked about many times, but I was never interested in purchasing, but I did get a chance to pick up a sample. The Beauty Blender Bounce Liquid Whip Foundation retails for $29 for 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of product. Comes in 40 different shades. My sample is going to be too dark for me. It is shade 2.10, which is described as light buff, medium with cool undertones, but I'm gonna try it anyway. The sample card has the old packaging displayed on here, and they have finally done away with the packaging, and I think the reason that I was never interested in trying it before was that whole packaging where you're supposed to squirt it onto the side of the bottle and then put your beauty blender in it was so gimmicky to me, and I was like, I'm just not interested in that. They have finally switched to a tube packaging, and they claim it is sustainable. There's no elaboration on what that means, but it appears to be the same formula as the previous. It's got hyaluronic acid, it's got white birch extract, which is antioxidant rich, so we're fighting the environmental aggressors and such. It is described as a full coverage oil-free liquid foundation with a natural looking matte finish that wears up to 24 hours. Now in upgraded sustainable packaging. Don't know what that means, but it's a bottle. Says it's best for oily combo and normal skin. I do have dry skin and a little bit of flaking going on right now, but we will see how it goes because you guys have asked quite a few times for it. It is vegan and cruelty-free, which is on my list of things I am glad for. So let's try out shade 2.10, swatched against a few others in my collection. Swatch time. First up is today's foundation from Beauty Blender, the Bounce Liquid Whip Foundation in shade 2.10. Second is from Estee Lauder, the Double Wear Stay in Place in 1C1 Cool Bone. Third up is MAC Studio Sculpt in NW15. And last, I've got the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator in Fair. I already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened this 48-year-old face. Speaking of sunscreen, I want to shout out Good Molecules has a sunscreen now. This is a complete mineral sunscreen, sheer mineral sunscreen, SPF 30. It is 13.3% zinc oxide, and it's got a couple claims to fame. Number one, no white cast. They describe it as a minimal white cast. Once this settled down and, set down, there was no white cast that I could discern, so they claim it is good for all skin tones. I would have to say on my experience it probably is, because I don't notice any white cast at all. And it is formulated specifically to layer nicely with the rest of your skincare and layer well with makeup. So I have found that to be true in the few times I've used it so far. It has not been pilling on me. It has just wonderfulness is all I can say. It's 12 bucks. Bravo, Good Molecules. I have yet to find something from them that I don't like. I really enjoy the Good Molecules brand. Hi, Ziva. How are you doing today? So, check that out if you're in the market for a sunscreen. Alright, where was I? Cleanse, moisturize, sunscreen to this 48-year-old face. I have primed with the Calorie So Blown, one of my favorite new primers of life. I wish it didn't have so much fragrance in it, but it does smell good. But I wish it didn't have so much fragrance in it. I've got, of course, a damp sponge. It is not a beauty blender. Sorry. I don't even think I have an actual beauty blender anymore. I just buy the AOA Studios from Shop Miss A, the $1.25 sponges, because they are fantastic. And I just don't need anything else. That's all I need. So, let's see how this goes. We got our sample here. I'm going to dot some on. I do expect this to be too dark for me because I'm on what planet am I medium? Not this planet. But we'll find out. We'll see. It might not be too bad, because it really doesn't look super dark in the package. So I think because they've got so many shades, it might not be super, super dark. It's not super, super dark. It's not. It's probably, I could even probably get away with this as my summer shade. I would say very light coverage in one pass with a damp sponge. I'm debating if I want to use a brush or not because, you know, it's a beauty blender, so doesn't that mean like it's supposed to be used with a sponge? I don't know. But I feel like I have to, just because. Alright, Sigma F80. Let's try the brush and see where we go. This does have a really sort of a nice, smooth, almost powdery finish to it, which makes sense. It's a matte, so I'm expecting it to set down that way. Yeah, you do get a bit more coverage with a brush versus with a sponge. It looks plenty smooth. I think you can apply this either which way. If you like a brush, go for the brush. If you like a sponge, go for the sponge. I think you're going to be fine either way. This sample gives you plenty of product to test out the coverage, test out the layering, which is what we're going to do. I'm going to stick with the brush just because I like the brush. I am very much, by default, I think, a brush or fingers person because I like my coverage. I like a good solid medium coverage, even a full coverage. I like my coverage. It goes back to childhood trauma regarding my freckles, which has continued because now I have sunspots. Same diff. And I don't want to see them. Probably won't ever get over that. So everyone that says, oh, you don't need that much coverage. Yeah, I don't need it. It's for my psychological mental health. So we don't want to have traumatic childhood flashbacks. That's why I wear foundation. Because, that coverage is nice. My sunspots are pretty much gone. And, yeah. Alright, so I am throwing a fairly challenging face at this foundation. I've got some peeling going on down here. I have some peeling on my lip. I got some peeling up here. Like, I'm flaky as heck right now. And taking a quick look, you know, it's not too bad. It's clinging a little bit. Like, you can see the edges of some of my skin that needs to exfoliate off. I'm going to scrub my face down tonight for sure. But it's clinging a little bit to the edges, but it's really not caking up or looking really heavy or accentuated on them. For a full coverage, this really has a pretty light finish to it. I think I missed a spot over here. Let's fix that. But it does have like a really lightweight feel to it. Let me zoom you guys in and give you a look at what I'm seeing here. So it's a little bit heavy on my chin, which is where I have the most redness. So sometimes that is user error. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of a little more product because when I cover my chin, sometimes I go too hard because I have wanting to get rid of the redness. Sometimes I don't put enough product on because I know that I tend to go too hard on it. So then I try to back off. And it's just a little bit clingy to the peeling skin I've got on my chin. My nose, everything on my nose looks actually really good. It's actually blurring my nose pores quite well. It's blurring my texture quite well. And it's actually blurring pores quite well. It is sitting really nicely on my face. Not clinging to the texture between my eyebrows. I've got a little flaking on my forehead that it's clinging a little bit to. But considering the state of the face that I'm throwing at it right now, I think it is settling quite nicely. It's not settling into lines. I shouldn't say settling. I should say setting down quite nicely. It's not settling into lines. The coverage is nice. I'm kind of surprised right out of the gate. This one's looking okay. Oh, I should have put some lip balm on. My lips are a hot mess too. I'm just a hot mess. Let's check the time. 3:03. Let me go put the rest of my face on. I will be right back. Back with the Beauty Blender Bounce. So far so good. I had no trouble blending anything. I haven't had any trouble with things settling into lines. No issues really at all. So far so good. We're off to a good start. I am trying for the first time the Urban Decay, what do they call it? Vice? I just tossed the box. What is it called? the Lip Bond Unbreakable Liquid Lip Color. It's supposed to be like glossy, but also very long wear. And I was not expecting the shades to be so bright. I got a couple of colors, and I haven't worn colors like this in a very long time on my lips, but I'm going to try it out. It's a little bit sticky, like it hasn't set down yet, or I don't know if it's going to. Beautiful packaging. I love the package. But I'm just curious because I'm about to go have a sandwich, and curious if it's going to hold up. So trying that out for funsies. This is the shade Solo Player. Rest of my face, no surprises. Flower Beauty Heat Wave Bronzer. My blush and highlight are the Natasha Denona My Dream Cheek Trio, Natasha Denona Retro Glam Palette on my eyes, and that's about all the excitement. All this stuff is linked down below. I'm going to go about my day. Whew, I don't know how I got such a late start today. I don't know. I don't know, Ziva. I just don't know. I will come back in a bit with a daylight check-in, and I will come back tonight and give you guys my final thoughts. Hey guys, we are a couple hours in, and everything still looks good, but my face is starting to feel super tight and dry, and that's not a good sign. This might not be good for dry skin, but look at the sunset in my Jeep. Look at how cool that looks. I'll show you the real sunset. There's the real sunset, but it looks even cooler in my Jeep. Look at that. Look at that. All right, here's your close-up. I think it still looks good, but oh, I'm just feeling so tight. Like, I'm feeling so tight. Sorry about the traffic noise. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I love my Jeep. All right, I'm gonna go about the rest of my day. I'm gonna go to Michael's Crafts, get some beads to make some more earrings, and I'll be back tonight. 12:03 a.m. That puts us right around the 9-hour mark. Let's take a look at how the Beauty Blender Bounce held up. Well, I think it looks good. It feels bad. That is the unfortunate situation. It has broken apart a bit on my chin, but I had some chin issues to begin with, and it is clinging to the edges of dry skin, but like I said, I gave it a very challenging face today. I think it held up really well in terms of general appearance, and blush, bronzer, highlight still intact, but it feels really, really dry. My skin feels super dry, super tight. It's that feeling like after you wash your face and you forget to put moisturizer on. Like, if you're a dry skin person, you know what I'm talking about. All the drag lines start showing up on my face. I'm looking in my mirror here. Like, it's uncomfortable. It's just uncomfortable. I think it sucked any moisture I had in my skin directly out. And it's a little bit unusual because I was pretty super hydrated today. Like, I did extra hydration in my skincare. I've been trying to get ahead of the dry weather and make sure I'm as hydrated going into it as possible. And that Good Molecules sunscreen that I'm wearing actually is one of the most hydrating sunscreens I've ever tried. So if you have dry skin, I think this one is probably not the best option. Let me zoom in, let you guys see what I'm seeing. So I did have to blow my nose today several times, so ignore what's missing on my nose. But if you look at my chin, I've just got a lot of redness coming through, and it's kind of caked up along any of the edges of peeling skin. Same with my upper lip. It still looks nice on my cheeks. Pores and texture still look nicely blurred. It's a little bit cakey between my eyebrows, but the flakes on my forehead, it's clinging to those, but for as challenging as this flaky situation is, I think it does look quite nice, and I think it held up quite well, but it's really drying. I see why they did not include dry skin as a skin type that this is recommended for. They recommended it for oily, combo, and normal skin. it's not the best for dry skin. That's going to be where I say, not for dry skin. So if you don't have dry skin, go ahead and try it because you might really like it. If you do have dry skin, I would say this is like the kind of thing you'd wear for a couple hours, like not something you're going to wear all day unless you're okay with feeling totally uncomfortable, tight, and scratchy, which I'm not. So, if I had to give a grade to the Beauty Blender Bounce, I'm going to give it a C. I think it's like average in terms of the dry skin factor. It's not going to really help you at all. I don't want to go below average because I think it looks really nice. That's kind of where I'm at with this. So I'm going to go C. I don't really recommend it for dry skin. I don't think there are any issues for maturing skin. It's not settling into lines. It's not moving around. Like, I think it does a great job with texture and pores. So really, it's just the dry skin crowd that might not have the best luck with this one. There you have it. Another episode of Foundation Fest is in the books. If you like foundation reviews, if you had fun with this one, please give me a thumbs up down below. Let me know in the comments, what foundations would you like me to check out? Even if they're not brand new, I keep a running list. I buy them whenever I can get my grubby paws on them. And as always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. I appreciate your time, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.